All right, so here we go. The first thing I want to start with is I am going to begin by calling it guess my number, and I'm going to say that today we're talking about part 2. That's the goal today. Let me see if I can do this part 2. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. And instead of doing the messy input output stuff that I had originally, I am going to start with my T-chart. Así que aquí voy a comenzar con lo que yo llamo mi tablero de números. So I'm going to organize one like this. All right, I'm going to call this input. A este lado está mi número de entrada y a este lado output, mi número de salida. Now, because of the sentence that I know we did the last time, también voy a aprovechar y voy a decir que aquí esta es X, esta es Y. So I'm also going to say that not only do I have my input and output, I have input from now on will represent X, and output from now on will represent Y. So I know this is how I'm going to set it up. And being the kind of patterns that I want to create, I am going to still begin with 3 numbers. So de la misma forma que anteriormente, quiero comenzar por lo menos con 3 números. So I want to start with 3 numbers because that kind of gets it going for me. All right. Now, last time I started to select people, okay, and I'm gonna do that today also. But before I do that, I would like to have a volunteer who would be willing to just type a number in the chat to get me started. Si puedo comenzar con alguien que me puede dar un número en el chat, por favor, para comenzar. Excellent. I see several numbers already, and I am actually going to start with the first one I saw, which happened to be 25. It seems kind of like a big number, but it might actually be a good one. Because the answer here becomes 76. And I think, believe it or not, 25 is probably a pretty good choice to start with in this situation. So, prediction. How do we get here? Porque todavía tenemos que hacer la predicción. De 25 a 76, pues ¿cómo lo hicimos? So how do I go from 25 and get 76? So here on the side, I still want to create a prediction. Can you please put it in the chat? ¿Cómo le hago para cambiar de 25 a 76? How do I change from 25 and end up with 76? Give me a prediction. Anything you think might work, just like last time. You can send it to me privately, you can send it to me regular, but put it in the chat, please. Oh, wow. If I'm understanding that correctly, I believe it says times 3 plus 1. So I'm being told right off the bat, let's not even mess around. Let's do times 3 plus 1. That seems a little complicated, but I like it. It's nice. Así que automáticamente me están diciendo, de un solo empiezo multiplicando por 3 y le sumo 1. So here let me do a quick translation. Wow. Is there another possibility? Vamos a decir que esta es la primera posibilidad. Is there an easier possibility? Because that one is a little bit difficult, to be honest with you. But is there an easier possibility? Or is that the only possibility? I only have one person today? I'm pretty sure I got more than one person. Nice. So I have someone that basically says, why don't we just add 51. Yes, honestly, you could use decimals. So I have someone who came up with a very nice idea and they said, can we use decimals? The answer is yes, but I'm going to tell you this. Right now, since we're just kind of getting used to it, I have purposely not included decimals yet. They'll come up. They will come up. And it's a very clever idea, but I wouldn't do that to you yet. Así que sí podemos usar puntos decimales o números decimales, pero por este momento no lo voy a hacer. Only because we're still introducing it. Okay? But that's a very clever idea. So yeah, it could have been done. As a matter of fact, so tell you what, send me the one that you were thinking of with decimals, and with your permission, I'll include it because who knows? Maybe it'll be a good one. So if you got an idea, please put it in there privately. All right, and I'll wait for you. All right, so as I'm doing this, I'm going to ask, please, for the following person. I'm going to choose somebody, so please kind of don't freak out on me, okay? All I want you to do is give me a number, all right? So I am going to ask Julio. Julio, could you type a number in the chat for me? ¿Me puede incluir un número, por favor, en el chat? Nice. He jumped in there and he said 15. Now, I wish I can tell you I can do that in my head, but I can't. Actually, let me see. Yeah, I think I can do it. I get 46. Okay, I'll check the answer right now, see if it works. Okay, so give me 1 second. Right now, though, I have 15, and that made 46, and I had two predictions. Times 3 plus 1, or add 51. First question, which of these, put it in the chat, which of these definitely does not work? ¿Cuál de estas dos no funciona? Type it in the chat. Add 51, good. Anybody else? I'm assuming you mean part 2, yeah? Okay. And again, I know I have more than 2 people, so can I have other people jump in there? Even if it looks like the same thing, you can give it to me privately, you can give it to me normal. Just jump in there. I want to see your participation today. Nice, thank you. And some of you actually say it a little bit different, which is interesting to me. Good. So right now, I will purposely cross this one out, but I have to check. I have to check if this one works. So in my mind, I'm going to start thinking to myself, 15 times 3 happens to be 45. 45 plus 1, 46. So this one definitely worked. And I had somebody who pretty much gave me that from the very beginning. Now, even though I have my numbers, I still want to do this 3 times. Now, I am going to pick the last number because I want you to notice something. I hope you notice something. And I am going to select this number. I personally think that is the best number to start with. And if I think this is my rule, then can you tell me what the answer will be? Type it in the chat. I put a 0. You tell me what you think the answer will be. Sorry, I was just adding a message. All right. And I have somebody who's going a little bit crazy with the ones, but I think I understand. Okay. So without being so dramatic, I agree. And I apologize I took time to tell you this, but you're right. The answer is 1. And so I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if, let me kind of use a little bit of color. I wonder if this has anything to do with that. Hint, hint, hint. Wink, wink, wink. El motivo que yo seleccioné el 0 es porque estoy pensando, ¿qué tal si puedo encontrar cómo este número tal vez tiene alguna relación con esta parte? Because there's a possibility that I may actually have some kind of pattern going. Remember, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. All right, so here's what I'm going to say. I know that this is going to be my rule. All right, so I'm going to put the paper like this so I can see it better. This is going to be my rule, and I want to basically start with the sentence so that we can end up with this with our equation. So from now on, the sentence always begins the same way. Así que mi frase que voy a comenzar siempre comienza de la misma forma. Y recuerden, esta respuesta depende del número con el cual yo comienzo. So the issue is this. In order for me to figure out my output, it depends on what I use for the input. As a result, the output is dependent on the input. So we write it this way. We say the output is the input. And really what I'm saying here is that these are related. Así que estoy escribiendo aquí de que estas dos partes están relacionadas. But I have to make sure that I include what the relationship is. So, in here, al final, yo tengo que incluir la regla. So in here, I have to include my rule. And according to what I already have here on paper, my rule is already here. My rule is times 3 plus 1. Así que tengo la relación entre las dos partes y termino con la regla. Pero la regla ya me la dieron. So, simplemente escribo. I simply write times 3, comma, plus 1. Y ya tengo mi regla. I basically have everything I need to create my equation. Okay? So, here is what I start with. Output is up here. So it's here and it's here. But output means this letter, which is Y. Does anybody remember what is means? And we won't be dividing yet, by the way. Maybe after. Anybody remember what is means? Nice, thank you. Is means equals. So I put an equal sign right above the word is. Input is here, which is X. Times, I'm not going to put another X here. For times, I'm going to put it like this with a little dot. Okay? It's my multiplication dot. I circle the 3 plus, and I circle the 1. When I circle the numbers, all I mean is I'm going to use them. Así que aquí tengo todas las secciones que necesito. Y básicamente voy a comenzar diciendo la frase. So I'm going to go through the sentence and see what the equation is. So the first thing I see, the output is the input times 3 plus 1. Yo leo la frase y eso me da mi regla, me da mi ecuación, más bien dicho. So now all I have to do is just kind of clean it up, and I write it like this. Y equals x times 3 plus 1. And now I have what I would commonly call my equation. Con esto yo ya tengo mi ecuación. Questions? Preguntas? And the reason I ask if you have questions is because you know that eventually I'm going to ask you to do this on your own, right? So I don't want to go ahead and tell you, oh, go ahead and do it, and you guys have no idea what to do. So, questions? Anybody confused about how we went from this to all of this? ¿Cómo lo hicimos? Comenzando con esto, a esto, y terminamos con todo esto. Okay? So I'm kind of hoping that it kind of makes sense. And I'm not going to give you anything to do yet. It's just I want you to start preparing yourself because this is where we're headed. Okay? So I would really like questions if I can get them. Los estoy invitando a que me den preguntas. Yes. We have to create some kind of rule that makes sense from one number to the next, and then put it into this sentence. The output is the input, and then we just put the rule in there. As soon as we put the rule in there, we have our equation. I will try to break it down a little bit more, but I'm going to give you something that might be a little bit more difficult, and I'm kind of hoping you understood some of the things I said here. Now, here's the thing. I want to select my numbers like with a strategy. I don't want to just pick random numbers all over the place. I want to select a number and kind of have a strategy behind it. Así que no quiero tratar de seleccionar números al que caiga. Quiero ver si puedo seleccionar un número, pero con algún tipo de estrategia. So let me just kind of move my sheet up. I'll leave this here so it's a little bit visible. And I'm going to go ahead and just separate the space. Try to be a little bit neat at least. Y voy a comenzar de la misma forma. So I'll start the same way. I do my T-chart. This is still input. This is still output. This is X. This is Y. And 3 numbers to start with. I still want to start with 3 numbers. So let me jump like this and let me ask the following. Listen for your name, please. I am going to ask Kimberly. Si me puede comenzar con un número, por favor. Please begin with a number. Type it in the chat for me, please. Me lo puede poner privadamente. Cualquier número que usted guste. Ok, muy bien hecho. Ella me da el número 22. I am going to say that if I have 42, what is it, 22? If I have 22, that's a nice number actually. I kind of like that one because it's going to make this answer. And I have the feeling somebody already has an idea. Once you see this, somebody will already have an idea of how to put it together. Okay, así que fue muy buen número para comenzar. Y ahora pues ¿cuál es la regla? O ¿Cuál es la predicción? So give me a prediction. Somebody please type it in there. Give me a prediction. ¿Cómo le hago? How do I go from 22 and get 43? Close. You are very close. So that suggestion you just gave me, you are so close. But remember that we're starting with 22. Okay, so we're not starting with that number, we're starting with 22. But you are very close. Because I want 43. ¿Cómo le hago? De 22 a 43. Give me one. It doesn't have to be a difficult one. It could be something simple. So I'm being told add, how much? 21. And the one that I just received, check your number. Let me double check something real quick. I am being told multiply by 21.5. And I have two people with very similar ideas. And if I'm understanding correctly, they're going to tell me times 2 minus 1. So this one is more interesting because I actually have 3 ideas here. Me dieron 3 ideas. Pues no sé cuál funciona. I don't know which one's right. I do, but you know, I'm just saying. Okay? I don't have enough information to make a decision yet. So I need a new number. So for this new number, respectfully here, let me see. Let me jump in here. Ismael, can you type me a number that you would like me to try? That works. He tells me to go ahead and try 18. All right, so I know 18 makes 35. So if I say this, which one is gone? Si yo digo que 18 me da 35, ¿cuáles de estas predicciones no funcionan? Tell me which one just definitely you think does not work. Add 21. Anybody else? Ok. Esta como que ahorita parece ser que no. Any other one that doesn't work? Okay. Keep it coming, keep it coming. I want more people involved. I want to make sure that I see this correctly. I know I have more than 3 people, and I keep getting the same people answering over and over again. So can I have other people join in, please? Si les puedo pedir que se incluyan, por favor. So I'm being told that right now, both of these are not going to work. So for right now, I'll double check. 18 and 21, just 8 and 1 make 9, so I know that's no good. I don't erase it completely, I just do a little light cross. Multiply by 21, 18 multiplied by 21, just even if I don't put the decimal, that's already a bigger number, so no. Yeah, you're right. But somehow I had to start with the original 22. So I chose this because when I originally was looking at it, I had to make sure somehow this was involved. I can't change this number to that number. I have to use whatever they give me. So that's kind of the reason I wrote it this way. Okay? And the last one is times 2 minus 1. So I'll see if I can figure this out. 18 times 2 happens to be 36. 36 minus 1 is 35. Now, let me kind of jump in here and say the following. There's a few of you who, when you see these numbers and you see me do this in my head, you are feeling so overwhelmed and so confused that you're thinking to yourself, I cannot do that. And I would agree, because if you're not used to dealing with big numbers, and these are not terribly big, but they start to feel big, then it just makes the math that much more difficult. So my suggestion as we move forward is to see if we can figure out how to start with small, easy to manage numbers, because it's going to click. It's going to make more sense if it's numbers that we're more used to. Now, I personally feel 22 was excellent, and 18 is a good number to check. But I know some of you are feeling kind of anxious right now, I would imagine, and it almost makes you like, oh, I don't want to see it. It's just too big. So could I please ask for someone to give me, and put it as a volunteer, can someone please give me a nice small number to work with? See if I can make the relationship work a little better. 15 is a nice number, but I'm thinking, honestly, I'm actually thinking a lot smaller. Maybe even just one digit. Nice. So I see 5. I'll start with 5. 5 is a nice number. I like working with 5. And I'm going to double check real quick. So far, I know these two are not going to happen. So this is what's supposed to work. So now see if you can do this on your own. And write the answer on your chat. 5 times 2 minus 1, and tell me what the answer should be. See if that's more manageable to you. Put it in the chat. Excellent. I already have an answer. I should have more than 2 answers. I should have a whole bunch of answers. Please include yourself. Maybe it's just Friday. Maybe Friday is your kryptonite. Maybe Friday is the, oh my Lord, I don't want to write anything today. But we have a 3-day weekend, so I don't get to bug you for a lot of days. So come on, let me bug you one last time. Jump in there. What's my answer? If you're just looking at my screen, you're not going to learn anything. All right, so I'm being told by several people that my answer is 9. And I'm going to check. 5 times 2 is my easy 10. 10 minus 1 is now my 9. And if I feel more comfortable with smaller numbers, then that's where I'm headed, okay? So here's the last thing. Can you please put it in the chat? And I really want people involved, but I need somebody to tell me, how do I start the sentence? Write it in the chat. I told you originally that we write the sentence the same way all the time. How do I write the sentence so that I can get my equation? ¿Cómo voy a escribir la frase? ¿Con qué comienzo? Put it in the chat. It's not a trick question, people. As a matter of fact, if you look at my screen, hint, 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 I already told you how to start. How do I start my sentence? I always start the sentence the same way. And we have to do the sentence. I know some of you are thinking, this is math class. What am I doing sentences for? We need the sentence. Write it in your chat. My Savior, my Savior. Thank you. Anybody else? You're excellent, by the way. Anybody else? It is kind of amazing that I only have 2 people right now. Both of them are correct, by the way. That would be the ending. And I'm not really looking for a number, I'm looking for the beginning of my sentence. So thank you for starting it, but I want the beginning of my sentence. And I have 2 people who have done it very well already. Oh, even better. You already started breaking it down. That's great. All right, so let me start jumping in there because of our time. For those of you who were unsure, the output is the input. Y termino con la regla, and I have to finish with the rule. But the rule, we already decided this is the rule. And the only reason we decided that's the rule is because this worked every time. So, para terminar aquí, just like somebody already told me, times 2 minus 1. All right. So, without taking too much of your time at this point in time, output, someone already nicely told me this, is input times, circle the 2, minus is exactly my subtraction symbol, and 1. Ya tengo todos los elementos que necesito. Cada palabra, un símbolo. Okay? So, I start my sentence, output is the input times 2 minus 1. Y ahora puedo terminar diciendo y equals x times 2 minus 1. And this is, of course, my equation. This is my equation. Ya con esto tengo la ecuación que necesito. Y de esta ecuación puedo hacer mucho más matemáticas. I can do a lot more mathematics just with that equation, which we're not doing yet. We're just doing it in pieces right now. And then what I want to do here is 22, 18, 5, and I want to remind you of something I said earlier. I think that's the best number ever. I still do. Put it in the chat. What do you think the answer is going to be with this rule? Times 2 minus 1. ¿Cuál es la respuesta? Type it in the chat if you think you know. I'm glad. I'm very glad. It's nice to hear that. If I put a 0 for the input, what's my output? Give me a number. Type it in the chat. Try again. Because remember, nope. Try again. Remember that we have this times that, but then I still got to do this. So that's an actual number. It's not a number that we like most of the time, but it's an actual number. Any ideas? Put it in the chat. You can send it to me privately. Those of you who are like, oh, I have an answer, but I don't want to go ahead and have people tell me stuff. Nice. Good. No worries. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. All right, so I got a couple of answers. All right. I think everybody else is just kind of freaking out right now, not sure what to do. So I'm going to put it and say, let's make that nice and obvious, -1. And when I say that, what I basically want you to understand is, let me kind of show it one more time. My rule said -1. And somehow, this says -1. So I think to myself, maybe, just maybe, there's some relationship here between this and this. I don't know. Maybe. Anybody notice? Questions, preguntas. Man, oh man, I really hope that this is just a Friday thing, because I'm getting a little worried here. You guys were way different on Wednesday. It was a lot more interesting on Wednesday. It's a little bit more exciting on Wednesday. Today, you guys have low energy. Oh, I got it. It is difficult. I agree with you completely. Especially when we feel that we already understood it one way and then they flip it on us. And the reason that it's confusing is because we don't expect to see that kind of number. You're right. We get used to seeing numbers a certain way. So if all the numbers I've chosen are positive, we expect that to be positive. But I want you to be flexible and start thinking about this. If I use this language, minus, then it turns out that the word minus is related to the negative number. It's a weird idea, I know. I call it here -1 for one simple reason. It's just laying there. It's not doing anything. But then when I put this and I put it here, I call it -1 because guess what? Now it's doing the job. Like a calculation. When it's right there, just kind of laying there, it doesn't have a job. So we just identify it. We say, that's a negative number. As soon as I give it a job, I take the exact same number and now I give it a name so that it has a job. And the job is, the action is minus. Así que la diferencia principal entre estas dos partes, aunque yo digo que son iguales, es que aquí yo le llamo a este número un número negativo porque solamente ahí está. No tiene nada que hacer más que estar ahí. Cuando lo escribo de esta forma, lo escribo como le estoy restando o le estoy quitando 1 por un motivo. Aquí el mismo número ya tiene trabajo. Esta es la acción. La acción es que le voy a restar, le voy a quitar. Okay? And I'm looking at something called a tightrope. And I'm confused. Now I'm confused. Okay.
It's because I said that because last year in math, the teacher, she used like, there was like a little boy who was standing on the tightrope, and like he would go back once, that would be like, so he would be on 0, and then it would be like a little number line or whatever, and then he would either go back to -1, or he would go forward 3, and then he would land on 3, and then she'll be like, now go back twice, and then we'll land on like negative or whatever. I don't know explain.
And so that number line became the tightrope for the little boy, and depending on whether he was moving forward or backward, the number would become a positive or a negative. Is that basically what was happening? Oh wow, that's a nice idea. So let me go ahead and see if I can admit one thing to you, just so that we finish in a good way. Um, as of today, at least for this period, I am going to say that that idea belongs to the person who just shared it. It was her idea. So I'm going to give her credit for that. But I want to admit one thing about myself that maybe I haven't had a chance to do so. And this is the idea now. By next week, this idea is mine. I'm going to rip it off. I mean, I am going to borrow it. And what that means is I'm going to take full credit for it. I'm going to say, oh, did you guys know that there's a tightrope idea where if you go forward, you get positive. If you go backwards, you get negative. And the reason for that is because, well, that's just how I am. So today, I give credit where credit is due because it wasn't my idea and you guys are all witnesses. But by next week, if I'm talking to one of my other classes, I'll say, look at the idea I'm about to share with you guys. Let me drop some knowledge here. And then all of a sudden, it's going to become my idea. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm going to rip you off. I mean, I'm going to borrow your idea. So I'm just putting it out there because I'll do that to you all year long. You give me an idea and I think it's a good one, I'm going to steal it. I mean, I'm going to borrow it. Steal sounds so harsh. I mean, that's what I'm doing, but I mean, you know, let's not be harsh. Okay, good morning. Welcome. All right. I give you credit today, and that's only because everybody heard. So yes, definitely you get credit today. And to be honest with you, I'll even give you points today. I'm gonna add up a couple of points on your work today, just because you gave me such a wonderful idea. But by next week, oh no, next week is mine. Bruh moment? Yeah, probably. You're probably right. All right, so let us finish like this. I want to take the exact same T-chart that we just did, and I want to make a suggestion on how I think I would like you to organize it. Okay? We're probably not going to finish it. I'm not entirely sure how far we'll get, but I want to do this. If I took this T-chart and if I were asked to organize this, I would actually do the following. I still have my input. I still have my output. This is still X. This is still Y. I'm going to attempt to put 3 numbers. And I just barely made them fit. And if I were the one doing this, I want to make sure I tell you what I would do. I would start like this. I feel that I can do some very complicated mathematics, but I don't have to start complicated. I'll start with what I feel is maybe the easiest possible. And I'm going to say that this T-chart is the same rule. So I already know this answer is -1. And by the way, I feel this answer is so important that I'm even going to go ahead and I will make it my rule that because this is such an important answer, I am going to go ahead and highlight that. And if I'm using the exact same rule, can someone tell me what this answer would be? If X is 1, if my input is 1, what do you think the output would be? Please put it in the chat. Let us finish that way. Nice. You're right on point. Anybody else? Same rule. Times 2 minus 1. And I'm starting with the 1. Good. So for those of you who said so, this is definitely 1. Let's move on. What if my input is 2? What would I get if I do times 2 minus 1? Tell me what that would be. Good. Anybody else? We're almost done, people. I swear. I just need more people involved. Thank you. Those of you who are doing privately, I respect that very much. You're still doing good. Come on, put yourself out there. What number is it? I can't just have 2 people who know the answer. That's ridiculous. Go ahead, Mad Spirit. That's cool. Thank you. Okay, that's fair to say. Even that I accept. Good. So take a look at what I do. I start with this number 2, and I say times it by 2. So 2 times 2, of course, is 4, and then I minus 1. So 4 minus 1 is 3. I know. And I'll make this available to you in the notes. And I'm recording the video today, so today you're also going to be given a chance to watch the video if you choose, and then it's going to go through the whole lesson. So no worries, you're perfectly fine. All right, here is how I want to finish the period today, because I know I've been bugging you all period, and it really hasn't worked out like I thought. But here is how I want to finish the period. Hidden somewhere in this T-chart is this part of my rule. And I'll go as far as to tell you that this part that I highlighted is automatically this part of my rule. They are the same. But somewhere in this T-chart, there's a pattern, hint, 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 that gives me this number. Identify it. See if you can identify that for me. Una vez más, dentro de este patrón, aquí en este tablero de números, existe el patrón que me da este número. I would say yes if you give me more information. It's almost like me asking where should I look to find this number as a pattern, hint, 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 in the T-chart. It is hidden in plain sight. It's like, bam, I'm right here. In this one, I refuse to tell you. I'm going to bug you about this next week. You're right. And that is correct if I'm looking at the calculation. So somebody is telling me that if I look at the part that says 3 minus 1 makes 2, I mean, if I say it that way, that would be absolutely correct. But what I'm saying, oh, wait a minute. Huh. Backtrack a little bit. For the person that gave me 3 minus 1, where are you looking at? Can you write it down for me? Oh, don't stop now. Oh, that's excellent. Tell me where you got it from, though. Where are you looking? My thoughts? Okay. Your thoughts are actually very nice, but you gotta give me more instructions as to where you're getting these numbers from. And all I have is this. And I think you're right on point, but I'm missing information. Input and output 1 plus 1. You're on the right track. but no. Okay, so then, since I have a very nice idea, but she's still kind of putting it in her mind how to say it, we are going to finish and basically we'll postpone this until next week. So I'll kind of leave it as a cliffhanger and we'll leave it for next week. Así que esto lo vamos a dejar hasta la próxima semana. Por el momento, si no se han incluido, por favor se incluyen en el chat. If you have not included yourself, please include yourself in the chat. And other than that, I hope you have a nice weekend. It is 3 days off. 3 days where I don't get to bug you. So, que tengan buen día. No, you're not. That doesn't, no, I'm not going to do that. May you have a good day. Que tengan buen día. Goodbye. Okay.
Goodbye, mister. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you, Erica.
Bye,
You too. I hope to explain it to you next week. Okay?
Bye,
Have a good one. Thank you for participating, though.
Bye, mister.
Goodbye. And is she still on? Yes. If I look at the number line, yes, but unfortunately, I didn't put a number line. So, all right, Angel, Christopher, you guys have any questions for me? All right. So what that means is that you guys are not there. All right, I only had a few participating today, so most people were quiet. Maybe it's just the Friday 3-day weekend virus.
I think so.